I'll only detain you 2 or 3 minutes longer. When the minister spoke there about the street sign in New York, what flashed through my mind was a street sign that always brings a smile to my face in a shopping centre in a certain area in South Galway, which I won't mention. And it's apropos, how do you craft a sign to alter behaviour? Instead of saying in the car park that cars will be clamped, it says owners will be clamped. So I have this mental image of people in stocks not being able to reach for their mobile phone to release their car. Thank you very much, Minister. Your presence is hugely important to us, and not only symbolically important but very practically important, because we know we have a time horizon of maybe 4 or 5 years to embed a new dynamic, a new mindset, and you're quite right, a new language, because if we use the language of old, such in needs and services, the danger is we'll be sliding back the slippery slope into convenient practices. Let me first of all thank all of the speakers, all of the chairs, and especially our rapporteur. I think they did an absolutely fantastic job, and please give them a warm round of applause. I thank them for sharing their vision, their own personal journey and their professional journey. And I think they all have come to the realization we're at a very unique moment in the country where there's an alignment of advocacy, an alignment of very forward-looking services, and an alignment of government. And it's important now we use this moment very constructively and to help each other. I want to thank all of my own staff. I'm blessed to have brilliant staff that always step up. You don't have to ask. Mary McQuinn, who's not here because she's having a baby tomorrow. Aileen Timmins, Conor Newman, Meredith Rayleigh, Aisling Dupuer, Eleanor Flynn, J.B. Turns, Roisin Fitzpatrick, not forgetting, of course, Andrew Power, who's produced the research and the book. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank our partner in crime, the Federation of Voluntary Bodies. What an amazing organisation that's so forward-looking in terms of where we ought to be. Brian O'Donnell, Christy Lynch and Maria Walls did such Herculean work yesterday and today. Thank you very much, Federation of Voluntary Bodies. This is a part of a series of events that we have been having and plan to have. We've just had a major conference 3 weeks ago in Dublin on the issue of development aid and disability. We got the US Under-Secretary of State to speak at that, and that was a very historic event for Ireland, I think, particularly as we're crafting a new foreign policy next year, a white paper, and as our development aid programme needs to more expansively absorb the message about citizenship and disability. We're also having a conference on the 12th of November, it's next weekend, isn't it? On employment and mental health law. That's going to be chaired by our own Mary Keyes, who's a member of the Mental Health Commission. We have a particularly exciting conference coming up on US-EU perspectives on genetic discrimination. As you probably know, insurance companies, employers more and more rely on genetic tests to be carried out and presumably exclude people on that basis, which is heavily regulated now, thankfully, in the United States, but not at all regulated in the European Union. So this is all about, is there a case for a European-level regulation in this field? People have asked me today, where's Charles O'Mahony? He's such a towering presence at all our events in our centre. Well, actually, we're co-hosting a joint event today in Strasbourg with the IMDAC, the Mental Disability Advocacy Centre, with the Council of Europe's Committee for the Prevention of Torture, Inhuman and Degrading Treatment. And he's there on our behalf, and essentially the issues they're looking at is issues like restraints, physical restraints, and more importantly, I think, chemical restraints, polypharmacy, chemical restraints, which affects not just people with disabilities, but also older people, I would suggest, right throughout Europe. So that's where he is today representing us. We're going to have an event on the UN Day on the 2nd of December with colleagues in Trinity College, Mary's group, the NIID, UCD Disability Studies Centre, and the University of Ulster in Northern Ireland. And we're hoping to create out of that a North-South Disability Studies Association association, which will encompass not just mainstream researchers and universities, the kind of stuffed shirts like myself, but people from inclusive research networks. So please come to that. You're more than welcome. Anna Lawson, very, very famous English blind academic, will be speaking about the responsibility of people in fairly privileged positions in academia and researchers to do their bit to contribute, whether it be economists or public policy analysts or sociologists, even people in divinity. I have a student about to start a PhD on comparative religious perspectives on disability. And indeed, on the 15th of December, we're co-hosting an event with the, we've been talking about a republic, with the British Commonwealth and the Inter-Rights Group on perspectives on African disability law. We hope to bring some of our students to that. Our students have recently started their own disability law clinic, and we're trying to seek funding from one or two foundations, not Atlantic this time, to try and connect the students in our clinic to clinics in Africa as well as in Latin America. I want to thank Atlantic Philanthropies, because without their vision and foresight in funding several bodies in the disability area, Genio and ourselves and others, we absolutely wouldn't be here today. I want to thank my own natural supports, my wife Anne, my children, one of whom is here today, Niamh, and indeed my dog Topsy, because I share my personhood with my dog Topsy. In fact, he's the only guy in the house, so every time he gets a haircut, I'm thinking, shouldn't I get a haircut? And I want to thank the Minister again very specially, because it really does mean a lot to us to have you here today. Björn Vinden, our esteemed colleague from Oslo, began opening with a vision of the civic republic. This is I suppose, particularly resonant for us, given that, as the Minister stated, the stated goal of our President-elect, Michael D. Higgins, is to inaugurate a presidency of ideas, focused on active citizenship and focused on a renewal of our republic as we approach the 100th anniversary of our founding and our revolution. And I think we owe it not just to ourselves to make these 4 years really count, but to actually, we owe it to the founders who had a particularly ethical vision of the republic, which we have betrayed for the last 90 years odd. So in the name of renewal of the republic, which probably requires a pint of Guinness, I now formally close the conference. Thank you very much. Just before we go, we have two very small presentations, and I emphasize they're very small presentations. Eleanor, would you like to come up and make the presentation? Oh no, do you want to stay in place? The first, and would you hold it up, please? No, not the book, the T-shirt. This is the Centre's T-shirt, and we're formally presenting one to the Minister. Eleanor is also presenting her a copy of a recent book on national disability strategies and how they might be better aligned to achieve the UN Convention. I apologise in advance that the T-shirt is purple. You might consider it an off-red for the Cork purposes. It's not even maroon for Galway. And our second T-shirt, I'm really sorry we don't have one for everyone in the audience, is for our special rapporteur, Mary McCarran. She can bring it back to Trinity College. I always like to say that if you run out of pyjamas, at least you have our T-shirts. Thank you very much, and thank you so much for coming.